Hi there. I have a guest. It's Wendell from Atlassian. Hi, Wendell.
Hi, Martin. How are you?
I'm fine. And the weather's awesome. And I think we don't have that much wind, so the audio will be fine as well.
Yes,
You're head of Confluence.
that's right.
I wanted to say Confluence Server, but there's this cloud thing. Can you decipher real quick what's the difference between Confluence Server and Confluence Cloud?
Yeah, so we have a dedicated team for Confluence Server that is basically a portfolio of all the products that are deployed to Server. And Confluence Cloud is a team that is just entirely focused on delivering the next growth area for just that one product. And we have other teams like Confluence in the cloud, so we also have Zero Core, and we also have Service Desk that is entirely focused on the cloud business owners.
Okay. We had a talk that you gave just a couple of days ago in our office, and you were outlining 3 main tasks that you wanted Confluence to accomplish. Can you lay them out? This is not the main part, by the way.
Okay.
That's okay. Can you lay out these 3 tasks again, please?
Yeah, so the tasks are what we call jobs. And think about jobs as use cases, but the jobs are much richer in explaining what these objectives of teams and individuals are. They also give some context, not just to the task, but also why they want to do it and what they want to achieve by doing it. So we call them jobs because they have a richer explanation of what a user or a team has to do, and that informs how we build a solution. So
what are they?
Yeah. So the three main jobs, as we call them for teams, is a lightweight project collaboration. The second one is what we call reference documentation. So this is around self-service documentation. So if I want to create documentation for another team or another part of my organization or even external to consume, that's what we call reference documentation. And the third one is the good old wiki classic, which is team knowledge. So when you want to make your teams work faster and smarter, you memorialize and capture knowledge to share within your team. So that's the third job for teams. And then there's the fourth job, which is really just a collection of all those jobs, which is the intranet or the community job, as we call it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're only focusing on these 3 because we already solved the linchpin part for the internet community thing.
Yes, so we're focused mostly on the 3 team jobs because we're really focused on team collaboration. And the fourth job is, while it's very important to us, we feel like that requires typically higher touch. And so
Which is not your business model.
That's not so much our business model, and that's why we really provide APIs, both in cloud and server, to help folks like Seibert Media to engage our customer base who needs that fourth job done. So.
Okay, now you've come up with this awesome 3 categories of jobs, but the main question is, it doesn't help. Like, I need the features. I need the software to help me do my daily job better. And my job is not to steer software. My job is probably to make sure that the sand out there is clean and free of litter or something. And however, and I have like 100 people who do that, and I want to manage them. So it doesn't help me if you categorize my work. I want tools.
Yeah, what it allows us to do is it's not so much putting everybody and their work in a box, but it really does help us to try and remember, these are high-level jobs. There are so many other what we call more granular jobs within those, but it's just a way of us being able to say these are the core things that we feel Confluence does really well for content and helping teams get work done. And all it allows us to do is it's just a framework to allow us to decide where we can put our efforts in terms of building features. So when we build features or APIs, it's going to be aligned to these jobs. And more often than not, and the reason why we've landed on these jobs is because it's not just we thought of them. In fact, this is from 10 years worth of data of analyzing, how customers are using Confluence already, as well as so analytical data as well as quantitative data. So when we speak to our customers, ultimately these were the things that we're trying to do. And so this informs our feature roadmap and our API roadmap.
Let me try to recap that. What you think is we have hundreds of developers who can help us make Confluence a better product. And if we understand better what are the main jobs that our customers need to do, we can streamline the software to be less complex, easier to start with, easier to exploit fully. Now that you've done these jobs, we'll see all the cool features that help these jobs pour out of that as a result?
Yeah, so over the next year, we really hope that these jobs will inform our roadmap in terms of, and as you said, I think a result will be a reduction in complexity. So as these jobs inform our roadmap, we feel that we can only expose the things that are important to get that job done. You'll always have the full power of Confluence at your fingertips, but teams can get started a lot faster when we know exactly what they need to get started. So whether it's a project collaboration, if they're building reference material, or they're just capturing knowledge for their team, and so as well as the community job, which is the intranet. So all of those things are really useful, and it also, as you know, as a product manager, I think the classic thing is about sort of saying what you will do and also what you won't do, and so these jobs help us inform both of those areas.
Okay, cool. Can you say or recap a little? You've been in Wiesbaden with Seibert Media, talking to a lot of our employees, talking with me. Tell our customers something about what you've experienced. We didn't have that much contact beforehand, right?
Yeah. So prior to that, I was actually working out of Sydney, and Martin actually reached out and suggested I come over, and I thought it was a great idea. Normally, I send people from my team who are, the lead PMs for a particular area. So we had Sharif come a year earlier and do a talk, but I wanted to get closer to our customers in Europe. And I think your offer was a really great opportunity for me to do that. I had a lot of fun. It was great to meet some really excited people and customers, people from the Atlassian user groups and many other people. So it was a great opportunity. So I really had a good time. Thank you.
Cool. Can you say anything about Seibert Media in specific as a partner?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, I think a key part that we need is you guys actually provide a lot of insight into that server and enterprise customer base, because you're working with a lot of larger customers that we typically don't have a closer connection to, because certainly we don't, because most of our cloud customers are not as large as the customers you're dealing with. And so you give us a lot of insight into what this customer base is dealing with, what challenges you guys have, and it's always very informative discussion. So and you also allow me to actually speak to those customers directly, and it's always a really fruitful discussion. So.
Tell us a little about these discussions.
Yeah.
What did they tell you? Did they tell you something about us? Did they tell us something about your product? And what was it? What came out?
Yeah, so I think the most interesting thing was it's very clear as to how a customer perceives our product in terms of what it knows Confluence is capable of, and what the product that you build, which is Linspin, that sits on top of it, and the clear distinction between what the value.
Did they get it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Also, they also understand that the thing that's powering Linspin is Confluence, and they also want to know where the platform is going, and as a result, how it will enhance potential things that they need to get done, and what you can potentially do for them in the future as well. So, getting a little bit of an outlook on our roadmap is part of, I guess, those conversations, so that it can inform their decision making as well. So.
He's a high-level manager already. So give me one thing concrete, specific that you learned from these
I think the importance of certain features for those customers. So I think mobile.
Okay. Did they stress
so-
that, or was I stressing that so
No.
much that you
Well,
think they?
man, I think you stressed a lot of things on us. So, but I think it was probably there was a couple of things that rained out. So mobile was a big one. I think that the fact that they needed certain capabilities on cloud, which I think we already know, but was reinforced. It's always a good validation, right? So some certain features on cloud before
German servers.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously where the data is stored. Some capabilities on cloud in terms of obviously customer size limits, user license limits being greater than 2,000, and a few other areas that we know. That,
What I have learned is that you guys don't seem to be aware that it could be a big problem that data is stored in various different locations for cloud. Like some is with Kamala Tech for the workflows, and some is with us for our microblog, and some is somewhere else. And that's that. I don't know whether a lot of Atlassians have understood that this is a potential risk of exposing data to all those Edward Nortons. No, how's this whistleblower? Edward Snowden. I'm sorry.
Edward Norton is a great actor, but I think he played.
he played a similar role. I don't know. I mean, the Snowden guy, yeah.
So data sovereignty, as we call it, which is really where data is stored, is something that we're absolutely cognizant of. Like, we absolutely understand that is important to customers, particularly in Germany or EU more generically. So we know that that's an important part that we want to solve. Now, the second part is what you said is the ecosystem also having that capability. So in the future, what we would see is that when a customer signs up for cloud, particularly a larger customer, enterprise customer, they might have enterprise features where they can choose where the geographic location is. So even if they're working across multiple zones in a data center for fault tolerance, they can actually pick it inside an EU region.
But only for Atlassian stuff.
No. That's the first step.
Okay.
The second step then is for the ecosystem to be able to also provide the same thing. So, as you know, like many of the things that we do in the product, we also enable for you as an ecosystem.
Do you enforce data privacy things that you promise to the customer on your add-on vendors today already?
Yeah, so in fact, we've got a talk. Actually, one of our head of our legal area for privacy is actually doing a talk. So we've got a person represented from our legal team speaking at the conference today, in fact, about how add-on vendors it's very important how add-on vendors have to follow the same license agreements that our customers sign up for, particularly in cloud, because as you host some of this data, like making sure the data is completely encrypted or non verifiable towards any one customer. It's basically anonymous or not stored at all. So it's basically either a session that you need that information and then it's wiped.
Oh, that's a good idea. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
This could be possible to just have like the feature be the feature and the storage only with Atlassian, for example.
That's right.
So we store some little bit. Okay, awesome. I don't think that I have any more mean questions at this point. I'll come up with more.
Man, I thought you were going to be a lot rougher on me.
There are going to be other places where I'm going to resume. And actually, what is it, like 2016? I'll be back with you in 2018 and look for your 3 jobs and the features that you've delivered and the complexity that you've reduced. Because at this point, in my opinion, and also don't get me wrong on this, but it's only just cheap talk. You've created a concept, sounds plausible to me.
Sure.
I understand that you need to do that as a big company and have like your fences where your playground is.
Yes.
But still, what I want to see is actually like a clean up product. Faster servers, cooler features, more mobile, and all this stuff. So Atlassian has taken quite some time to sort themselves, to organize themselves. It's all stuff that our customers' employees cannot improve their work with. So I'll be back with the main questions in 2 years and remind you of this.
All right.
Well, maybe you will be back and say, "Look, Martin, look what we've done."
Martin, I'll be calling you, I think, because we're gonna have him sooner than you think. So yeah.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks.
Okay. Thanks, Martin.